So it's good to see you all again. I'm Natasha and welcome back. So today we're going to continue our fifth chapter, complex numbers and quadratic equations. So in this video, we're going to discuss about the principal argument of complex numbers, as we discussed, as I told you before too, in the previous video. And in the previous video, we discussed about the argument or we can say the amplitude of complex number. And in this video, we'll be discussing about the principal argument of a complex number. Okay? So let's get started with our today's new topic. Oh my gosh. Okay. Yeah. So what's our topic? It's the principal argument. Principal argument. That's it. Okay. So the principal argument. First of all, I would like to draw some two figures. Okay. I can just even say those are the plane, the graph. Okay. So let me just make it. Okay. I'm gonna make it right here. No, yeah, I have to make two of them. So, okay, wait a second. Let me, just make it again. Okay. Yeah, so these two things, I'm drawing these two graphs because I have to show you two different things, right? Which is, of course, related to the direction. Okay, I think it's, better. Yeah. So, we have two graphs here, okay? Right? Yeah. And, let's say that we have a point here, okay? And in this one, we have a point here, okay? Okay, so we're not going to discuss about it right now. So, let's get back to the topic. First of all, we'll be discussing about the principal argument. And then, then we'll move on to these two figures, okay? So this is the first one, and this is the second one. Oh, again, made a mistake. I'm going to make it again. Clean it and then write it. Yeah. Okay. So I think I've said okay many times. Never mind. Yeah. So principal argument. So first thing we need to discuss about is about the quadrant. So sorry. Yeah. So it's about the quadrant. How many quadrants do we have? 4 quadrants, right? First one, second, and third and fourth quadrant. Okay. And as we all know, this is the first one, second, third, and fourth. Okay. So we need to discuss about it. So let's move on. So first thing that I want to say is, that the argument of a complex number depends on the quadrant in which it lies. So what I'm saying is the argument of a complex number depends on the quadrant in which it lies. Right? Yeah. So argument of a complex number depends on the quadrant in which it lies. So first thing that, as we have these 4 quadrants here, and one thing is the argument of a complex number depends on the quadrant in which it lies. So let's say suppose, the argument of a complex number is on the first quadrant. So it will, depend on the first quadrant. So what's this first point trying to say? Like, it's just saying that, let's say we have a argument, any argument of complex number, it will depend on the quadrant in which it lies. Like, is it on the first, second, third, or fourth quadrant, okay? Yeah, so let's move on to our second point. Okay, second point is, like I said, that, there, like, here is a, let's say, a point here, okay? And here's a point too. So, oh my gosh, sorry. Yeah, so let's say that we have theta here, okay? So like, how am I going to, go here? I'm going to use the clockwise direction, and the second is anti-clockwise. So we usually use the anti-clockwise, but in place of taking a long route, like, okay, so for this one, like, we can just easily go, or maybe let's, or, okay, if I'm going to say that, there's a like line here, okay? Forget about this one, okay, for now. So what is it going to be? It's going to be really easy, so we'll just directly go in anti-clockwise direction and we'll get it, okay? As this is the second quadrant, right? Yeah. So and till third quadrant too. But what if it's, in the fourth quadrant? Or maybe we can also use it in the third quadrant too. So let me just tell you, okay? Just wait a second. I don't think there's any need to, write this thing. Okay. Yeah. So, like, we can usually take it in anti-clockwise direction, which is gonna be just like this way, right? Yeah, this is like totally clear to us. But what if, it's in the third quadrant, we can also take it in clockwise direction, right? And for the fourth quadrant, like, of course, so, we want the short one, right? The short route. So we're, of course, going to take it just like this way, okay? So, in place of taking a long route, in place of taking a long route for taking the argument of a complex number lying in the third or fourth quadrant, we can also go in clockwise direction. Okay, just wait a second. Yeah, so what is this point saying, okay? What is it like exactly trying to say? What is it exactly trying to tell us? It's saying that in place of taking a long route for taking, the argument of complex number, which is like, lying in the third or fourth quadrant, we can just, we can like also go in the clockwise direction. That will be more better. But there is one thing. And this is what this is going to be the third point. So if the clockwise angle is used, then it will be negative Yeah. So if clockwise angle is used, if we're using it in clockwise directions, let's say for this one, we have just used it in, yeah, we'll just use it in, clockwise direction. So this is how I got, right? Just have a look at it. Is it clear? Is it clear? Right? It can be, right? Yeah. So what if I'm going to say, let's say that, in this too, that argument is just like in the third quadrant, okay? Third quadrant. So how are we going to take it? We're just going to take it like this way, in clockwise direction, like clockwise directions like this way, anti-clockwise, just write its opposite, right? So if clockwise angle is used, then it will be negative. Like, of course it was positive, but after using it in clockwise direction, it's gonna be negative. Okay? Yeah. And there's one more thing, that and it'll also be different from the argument that we're having. Okay. Yeah. So what was in this point, that if clockwise angle is used, then it will be negative, and will be different from the the argument. So like it was positive in anti-clockwise, but if we're going to use it in clockwise, then it's going to be negative. That's the one difference. And second thing is that it will be different from the argument. Okay, it will differ from the actual argument. Okay, so all these three things, like this is what we call as the principal argument. So this is known as principal argument. Okay, so this is what we call as the principal argument, right? Like this one's in anti-clockwise direction, or I can just say the angle. This one's in clockwise angle, right? Okay, just wait a second. Yeah, whatever. So, like instead of taking a long route, we can also go in the clockwise angle. One thing that if it's positive, of course it's gonna be positive, but after using it in clockwise angle, it's gonna be negative. Okay, so let me just tell you a small thing. Okay. Okay, so let's say that we have okay, so this is going to be the first quadrant, second quadrant, the third quadrant, and the fourth quadrant, right? Yeah. So in the first quadrant, like what is it going to be? The theta is going to be, of course, but if I'm going to talk about the second quadrant, then what is it going to be? First thing, that we're going anti-clockwise angle, then it's going to be positive. So pi minus theta, okay? And if I'm going to talk about the third quadrant, it's like the third quadrant is taken in clockwise angle, and it's going to be negative. So this same thing is going to be just negative, okay? Negative pi minus theta. And here, as it's, just write its opposite. Like this will be just, exactly negative theta. Okay, why? Because it's taken in clockwise angles, that's why it's negative, and the theta will be the same. Okay, so one thing, I've used pi here. So I wanted to tell you that the principal argument lies in, from the negative pi to positive pi. So that's what is range, okay? So principal argument of complex number lies in the range of, negative pi to positive pi. So one thing principal argument of a complex number lies in the range of negative pi to positive pi. Okay? Right? Yeah. So that's what I wanted to tell you. So like and if I'm gonna talk about the argument, then what was this phrase? Like it was from okay, like we had something, a condition just like this way, like where we have the negative pi less than the theta and less than or equal to the positive theta, right? Yeah, just something like this, or it can be even changed. So we're going to discuss about it furthermore, but maybe in the next videos, not in this one, because I think that is enough for today. And I hope everything was understandable. So that's all for today. In the next video, we'll be solving a question. Yeah, I told you we discussed a question, just in the first video, and I even told you that we'll discuss that question after discussing the principal argument. So we'll do it too, but in the next video or maybe in another video. So thanks for watching and have a great day.